Hi everyone, welcome back. In this lesson we are going to create our second screen, which will be this one. We can go ahead and create a new one, but we don't want to do that. I want to duplicate our first artboard, which is this one. I'll just right click on it and duplicate. I'm doing that because you are going to use a lot of things from the first screen. So I will name this artboard 2. Just like this, and then we will go ahead and change stuff. The first thing I want to change is the name of the stories. I will make this chats, and this one will be contact. Just double click on it and change it to the contacts. Make sure it's in the middle between the two texts. And then we will change this to story. It will be stories. Just like this. Okay, now we will change stuff from this one. I will change this favorite to the quick chats. Okay, and now the next thing we are going to work on this area. We will be creating something like this. We want to create messages, and also we are going to change the profiles. I'm just going to click on this photo, and then we will go to the resource folder. We are going to change it with one of these photos. I'll replace it with this one, clip mask it, and remove this one. Now let's resize this one. We will make it fit the circle. Now double click. And then you are going to change the name to Aya. And I move it a bit to the side. Make sure it's in the middle of the circle. For this one, you are going to change it as well. Let's replace it with this one. We call this Nevian, clip mask it. And then you are going to resize it to fit the circle. We will call this Nevian. I just put these names for myself. You can change it if you want. Make sure it's in the middle of the circle. And the last one, we will keep it as it is. One thing that I want to change in the previous screen, which is this one, I want to create another profile. I'll just click on this one, duplicate it, and then I will move a copy from outside. I just want a bit of the side to appear, just like this, and I will do this for our new screen as well. But before I do that, I'm going to remove this white background, and then go to this story, Command J to duplicate, and then we are going to move this copy to the side. Something like this. Okay, now we will remove all of the other profiles that we have. We need to make these messages, so obviously we need to remove the other profiles. Just go ahead and select all of them. These are the recent stories, and remove them like this. I'll remove this name as well, recent. Now we will create our first message, and after that we are going to copy and create the other messages. Before I do that, I want to make some guidelines. I'll bring one line, put it over here, and another line, put it over here. Now make sure that the message are inside these two lines. I will use the rectangle tool from the shape tool and create a rectangle just like this. Then we will change the color to white, and we need to round the corners. Make sure that they are connected, the corners, and then change the number. Make it 38. We are good like this. Now the second thing, we need to make this circle, which is the profile area. And then we need to add the text name and number of messages and the time. So I'm going to click one of these profiles. I'm going to copy one of them. Command J. And then this copy, I will rename it to chats. Then click on one of the handles and move it down. For sure, we need to move it up in the timeline. On the layer panel. It should be above everything. And then I'm going to remove the name. We don't need the name here. Just click on it and remove. We want to change the color of the white circle, which is the main circle, to green, so it appears in the white background. Then click on the group, click on one of the handles and scale it down just like this. I'm pressing shift to scale it without stretching because my width and height are not connected. If they are connected, you don't need to press shift. And I explained this in the first sections, in the basic sections. I'll just move this around, make sure it's in the middle. And then the next thing, you're going to add the name and the message. I'll name it Aya, change the color. I just undo it and I'm going to create the text again. Make sure that you select the group and then click in an empty area. Now write the name. The name should be Aya, but I name it Maya here, so you can change it for yourself. Make the color gray, something like this. Then move it up. Obviously, we need to change the size. We need something like this. Then I'm going to press on the Alt and move it down to make a copy out of it. This will be our message. Write anything that you want. I'll write how are you. And the color of this one should be darker. Now we need to align the name and the text with the profile circle. I'm going to choose the name, select it and move it up a bit. Then press shift and select both of them like this. And you are going to move it down a bit, just like this. Press on the Ctrl and comma to enable the grid. Now I want to align this according to the grid. I want to align it with the circle of the profile. I want it to be in the middle, just like this. Just make sure that they are in the middle like this. Now Command or Control comma to disable the grid again. The next thing, we need to add the date. Now let's go back to our project again. I'm going to select both of the text and I will bring them down. Press on the one, shift, then the other one, and bring it down. And the next thing, I'm going to duplicate this, click on it, press on the Alt and move it to the side. We are going to change it to the date, the time. Make it 12:30. Then we will change the color to black. And you'll make it smaller like this. And now we will move it to the left side a bit, just like this. Now you'll create our circle, use the ellipse tool and create a circle like this. I'm pressing on the Ctrl and Shift together. But before I do that, I work with this circle. I want to bring two of the guidelines. So I want the date and this red circle to be in the same area of the name and the text. Okay, now let's select our circle. If this happened to you and you cannot select your layers inside the work area, you can go to the layer panel and find it there. In my case, I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to the ellipse tool and I will create a new circle like this. Then I will change the color to red. Something like this will be good. As you can see in the layer panel, we have our old circle that we lost. I don't recommend you, whenever you lost something, you create something new. You have to find it in the layer panel. But in my case, I don't know why I did this actually. I'm going to remove one of these circles, which is this one, the number 3. And then I will move this up. We are going to align it with these lines. I'll move the text up a bit and make sure that this one is in the middle of the time. Then we will use the text tool to create the number of the messages. I will make it number 4. And then you are going to change the color to white. Then move it over this circle. We need to make it a bit smaller. And make sure it's in the middle of the circle. Okay, now we created our first message. One last thing I want to do is to select the background. Double click on it for the layer style and we are going to add the shadow to it. Of course, we need to play with the shadow to make it less obvious. Bring down the size and the spread. Okay, make something like this. Let's bring down the size a bit more. And now copy these settings, press OK. And then we are going to put these in one folder. But first I want to remove these guidelines. And now in the layer panel, I want to find all of the layers that are related to this message, and we are going to put them in one folder. I just brought one guideline over here. And then let's go to the layer panel. It is this chat folder. It includes the profile and the name and the time, but we don't include the background. And also this circle with the number. Put it inside just like this. And then this rectangle, which is the background. Now inside the folder, the background is above everything. We need to open the folder and move the background behind everything. Somewhere around here will be good. And now we have everything in one folder. Now we can select it and move it up like this. And then we can Command J to duplicate. I will just try to align it with the other one. Then I will Command J, duplicate it again. By the way guys, you can duplicate all of the copies and move them around randomly and then use the alignment tools to align them. For now I'm trying to align them manually. We now have another copy. I'll move it down. And I will just eyeball to see the gap and make sure that the gap between this one and the other one is similar. Guys, I'm just going to speed this up until I make all of the copies because the process is similar. You will just Command J to duplicate and move them down. And then if you want to make sure that the gap between all of them is similar, you can use the alignment tools. I will make this part a bit faster. If you want, you can watch me doing this, or you can just skip this part and do your own. Okay guys, now we finished all of these, and if you want to make sure that they are aligned, select all of them and use the alignment tools. Now we need to change these profiles, names, messages, and the time. So make sure that you select the photo and then you are going to the resource folder and replace it with one of the photos that we have. We will clip mask it, and then we'll remove this one and we will scale this down. Okay, like this is good. Now let's change the name. I'll name this Mike, and we will change the message as well. You can write anything. This is just for the demonstration. So we have this message, are you coming tonight? And then we're going to change the number of the messages. I'll make it 12. And make sure it fits inside the circle. Okay, then you can change the time as well if you want. We will do the same for the rest of the messages. We will change the profile, change the name and messages and the number of the messages and the time. I'm going to speed this process a bit because it's similar. If you want to know how I do it, you can watch me doing it. If you don't want, you can just skip this part. Now we are almost done with everything. The last thing that I want to do is to change the time. For this one, I'm going to remove this red circle just so we have the variation. I will make this 2 minutes ago. Then we'll move it just like this. Make sure that it is aligned with other texts. This one I will make it 17. And then 10. Number of the message for this one, I'm going to make it 2. Make sure this is in the middle of the circle. And the time, I will make it an hour ago. For this one, let's change it as well. Make it 2. I'm just going to bring one of the guidelines over here just to make sure that all of the times are aligned together. For this one as well. Let's move this one as well. And we are going to align the rest with this line. Let's change this. Double click on it. And we are going to make it yesterday. And then we are going to align it with this line. Then we have this one. Let's change it to now. And the first one, we'll keep it as it is. Now we are almost done with everything. The last thing that you need to add is the icon for the new message. So we are going to create something similar to this one. Let's go back to our project. I don't know, for some reason I've written Maya over here. I'm just going to remove that. This is only for my case. I wrote this. Maybe you didn't do this mistake. So if you do it, remove it. If you didn't, then you don't have to remove. Now let's go to the ellipse tool. We will create a circle. Something like this. I'm pressing on the shift with it to make a perfect circle. We will move it over here. Let's keep it over here. Double click on it for the layer styles, and you are going to add the drop shadow to it. Something like this. Let's increase the size and the spread. Create something like this. Copy these settings. And then you are going to bring an icon. You can find the icons in the resource folder. We're going to use the pen, which is this one. Move it over here and make it smaller to fit inside the circle. Double click. But first, you should make sure that it's in the middle. Okay, we are good like this. I will just move these a bit, select both of them. And then move them to the left side a bit. This one also, the pen, make sure it's in the middle. And just like this, we finished our second screen. Hope you enjoyed and learned something new. In the next lesson, we are going to create our third screen, and we will be creating this message area. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.